Thank you, Zack Snyder. Welcome back to the party, everybody. My name's Jaren, and I'm a film critic representing Generation Z. While my knowledge may be limited, my willingness to learn more is sky high. So if you want to follow along on my journey through the ups and downs of the film industry, consider hitting that subscribe button and get notified every time my brain grows just a little bit bigger. I want to thank Warner Brothers so much for giving me the opportunity to watch Zack Snyder's Justice League early for review on my channel. This is such a big opportunity, and I'm so happy to be able to give you guys a review. So with all that being said, make sure to comment down below. Let me know all of your thoughts on the film, because I know this is a pretty big deal. Fueled by his restored faith in humanity, inspired by Superman's selfless act, Bruce Wayne enlists newfound ally Diana Prince to face an even greater threat. Together, Batman and Wonder Woman work quickly to recruit a team to stand against this newly awakened enemy. Despite the formation of an unprecedented league of heroes, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Cyborg, and Flash, it may be too late to save the planet from an assault of catastrophic proportions. You guys get the gist of the film. Even though it's a new cut, it's still the same story in a lot of ways from the 2017 garbage version we got. Did I mention it was trash? Did I say it was terrible? Yeah, it's really bad. I think this is the most excited I've ever been for a review that I put out on a channel, just because for the last 4 years, a huge movement has been rolling through all of social media, taking the world by storm and creating this thing that now exists that so many people said would never happen. Release the Snyder Cut was a hashtag that came out soon after the release of 2017's Justice League, directed by Joss Whedon, because people knew in that moment when they came out of the film, this is a terrible movie, and this is not what Zack Snyder intended. Obviously, he had to step away because he had some very tragic events happen in his own family. Joss Whedon came in, and this became a committee project. It became a movie that an entire board of studio executives decided to piece together in their own way that they thought would sell merchandise and be the most appealing to the widest audience. They fit it within this 2-hour frame without giving it any breathing room whatsoever, and cut out so many of the important things that Snyder shot, as well as just didn't pick up to where he left off. And so the whole film was uneven, just off balance, completely off kilter. Terrible CGI, absolutely no character arcs whatsoever for Aquaman, Cyborg, the Flash, because at this point these were new characters that we had never seen before. So it was all a team-up movie that happened so abruptly, and it was absolutely devastating. Everyone hated it when coming out of it, and it's understandable because it wasn't a good movie. I don't want to spend all my time talking about 2017's Justice League, because honestly, I could never talk about that movie again. Now that we have Zack Snyder's full vision, I may not ever go back and talk, discuss, watch Justice League, the original version that was released in 2017, ever again, because there's absolutely no need for it. But the bottom line is, everyone since seeing that original edition was rooting for Zack Snyder to get his opportunity to make the movie he always wanted to make. We didn't know it was going to happen, and then last year we were alerted that Warner Brothers was going to be working with Snyder, giving him a $70 million extra to work with, and he was going to be able to finish his entire vision and release it on HBO Max. And everyone was worried, is this going to be better? Is this just going to be another huge disappointment? Well, I'm here to tell you that this may just be the best film in the entire DC entertainment universe. Every single time I watched that original Justice League that was released in theaters, I could tell exactly what scenes were from Zack Snyder and what was put in by Joss Whedon, because I knew those certain moments were the ones that were actually somewhat bearable and I enjoyed. I knew that was just pieces of Snyder's vision. So getting an entire 4-hour cut of everything Zack Snyder wanted to put out, this is his magnum opus. This is the biggest thing he's ever done in his entire career, the most ambitious project he's ever had, and it could easily have missed so many marks as well, but you can tell he poured his heart and soul in it, and it's absolutely noticeable, because Every scene of this is incredibly dynamic, it's incredibly engaging and exciting, and it builds on all of the character arcs that we didn't get, that were absolutely not present at all in the original version. It gives a purpose for the villain that we have in this film. Steppenwolf actually has levels to him. He has layers. He has value. It feels very fitting with the tone and essence of what happened in both Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman. It really respects those projects much more. One thing I hated about the Justice League 2017 edition is that it completely just disregarded that wholeheartedly. It fully pushed it aside, and you didn't feel any of the consequences or any of the drawback from how Batman vs. Superman ended when obviously Superman died. You didn't feel any of that emotion like you really should have felt in that moment when watching Justice League. But from the beginning, that's immediately picked up in this film. I don't want to spoil anything at all because this is definitely an experience that you need to go witness for yourself. But all of it feels so much more earned, so much more impactful. This is a better film on every single level. I'm really trying to be as detailed as possible while also being as vague as possible because I don't want to say anything that will ruin the experience. This is definitely something you need to go watch. You need to take the time to sit down. It's separated into chapters, 6 chapters plus an epilogue, so there's ways you can space it out and you can time it accordingly to your schedule and the way you consume media. So there's just so much here that really needs to be seen, especially if you were disappointed with the original version we got in 2017, and if you're a fan of Zack Snyder, if you're a fan of just filmmaking and superhero films in general, because this is one of the best superhero films to come out in I don't remember how long. The film contains such operatic storytelling at such a wide grandeur that really just boasts for all of this entertainment and engagement, and every single scene feels so exciting, and there's something to unpack. There's something in front of you that's just like, oh, that clicks. That's really good. Okay, he took his time here. He fleshed this out. This makes a lot of sense. It's just got such an amazing scale to it, but everything that you see in the frame feels so valuable to the overall narrative. The film is shot in a 1:3:3 aspect ratio, and a lot of people are hesitant to see how that was going to play out, including myself. I didn't know how it was going to feel, and especially watching it on a television, I thought that it may limit my experience, limit the amount of things we'd be able to see on the TV, but actually extending its height rather than its width really added some sort of dynamics. It really focuses on the main things that you're trying to watch and visualize and consume without all of the other stuff going around. It's, in a way, it's got this tunnel vision approach that really just dials you in to every single important moment. Zack Snyder even said in an interview recently that the reason he did that is because when you think of superheroes, you think of characters that are meant to rise up. So he thought it was only fitting that he would raise the aspect ratio, heighten it a bit instead of widening it. It was actually very dynamic and worked surprisingly well. Just the color grading in general all across this film is so much better. It's much more consistent. It's definitely matches to Snyder's tone. It's definitely more dark and brooding and sort of eerie in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it gives it that epic cinematic feel. One of the things, again, with the 2017 Justice League is that you can see early on some of his touches and some of his color grading style, but then as soon as Joss Whedon came in, there was like an overabundance of brightness and reds, and it looked very ugly, and it was hard to watch. So the fact that we have some consistency here, and it actually it bodes well for the characters and the story, and it matches the tone of the universe and everything Snyder has done within it. It's refreshing. Everything technically, on a technical level, is so much better. But definitely the most impressive thing about this is that he was able to flesh out so many of the characters. My favorite character probably in this entire film was Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher. And it's crazy because in the Justice League we got before this, I thought he was one of the weakest characters, both him and Flash. There was no characterization at all. We were just supposed to accept the fact that they were right there. Their story arcs felt very, very shallow, lacking any depth at all. But here, Snyder felt the importance that obviously when we're introducing these characters, we have to feel for them. We need to see where they come from and why they are impacting the story as a whole. And I felt that so much when you learn about Ray Fisher, where he came from, the accident that happened, how he turned into Cyborg, his rocky relationship with his father, and how his father was only trying to help him, but now he feels like he doesn't have control over himself because he's consumed by this technology now. So he's had to change his whole way of life. He also has a huge connection to the mother boxes, which is the thing that Steppenwolf is after this entire film. All of that is given more depth and fleshing out, and it feels entirely more earned. We also learn much more about Barry Allen, the Flash. We get more characterization and reasoning behind why he does what he does, his purpose, his drive. We see hints of him and his blooming relationship, but also trying to make something of himself for his father, and just being stuck in this reality of not knowing what he needs to do for himself. But then he has plenty of moments in this movie to be impactful and really step up in a lot of ways. All of the heroes feel like heroes. They're characters that you can actually root for now. They're not just subject to a team up. They're not just pawns in a game. Even Steppenwolf, I thought originally he was a terrible villain. He was just one of those stereotypical villains that kind of just was talking deep and going around killing people and trying to complete a mission, but we didn't know why. Now we know that he is doing all of this for the well-being and the respect of Darkseid, trying to make his name more respectable again and honorable. And so he's going around trying to capture all of these mother boxes, but in a way he's always falling short of Darkseid's expectations, and he's never able to please him. So there's some emotional depth and understanding behind the character. I will say that Darkseid is not like the most in-depth of a character. He doesn't have the biggest story arc. His writing isn't the deepest. He's not like a Thanos or something like that who actually has a ton of reasoning behind what he says. He is more so of like the stereotypical big bad sort of character, but he's also not the main villain. Like, he's not the one going around doing the deeds. That's definitely Steppenwolf. So I'm just glad that they gave one of the two some sort of characterization that was missing before. You feel the impact of every single moment. Every bit of it has stakes, and it feels like it's leading up to something. And the end battles and the way that it concludes really just had me jumping out of my seat with excitement. I've seen the movie 4 times now. I just went back, rewatched it over and over and over again. I've spent the last 16 hours of my life consuming this film because I was so impressed with the scale and what it was able to accomplish. Just in awe after what we witnessed in 2017 and the fact that Warner Brothers thought that was okay to push out, but that they actually hesitated to let Snyder go forth with his vision. It's beyond me. It's absolutely unbelievable. There were so many moments in the original version that when the climax came and when it ended, that big sequence that you felt like they should have gone all out. There were so many things that they decided to do with the character, especially like Flash helping a little girl and pushing a truck and stuff like that. It didn't feel earned, and it didn't feel very exciting at all. It was incredibly underwhelming. I came out of the film actually sick to my stomach because it was such a wasted opportunity. There was so much wasted material. And when you have characters like this who are so dynamic and have many, many layers to them, you present the most shallow version of them possible, almost have them be robots or statues just to play in this big studio advertisement of a film that was. So seeing them actually have such a big role was exhilarating. It was such a refreshing thing as a fan of DC, as an audience member, just as a fan of entertainment and film, to see that Snyder knows what he's doing. I've always rooted for this guy. I think that it's so amazing that he's incredibly passionate about all the stories he tells, and he's willing to make a push for characters and for stories that otherwise would not have any light shed on them at all. It's a testament to who he is and his character, and just that he loves what he's doing. You feel his passion in every single frame. Yes, Joker is in this for a couple of scenes, but also don't go into this film looking for Joker or Deathstroke or anything like that. That is not the main purpose of this movie. It's definitely a hero's journey, having them unite once again, and also just Batman kind of regaining that sense of unity and understanding that he's always been missing, and especially that deep gaping hole he's had inside of him since Superman died, and he felt like he really let him down. So there's a lot of layers here. Don't just wait for all of that other stuff. Just consume it and be in the moment and see what happens in front of you and appreciate that instead. Don't always wait for what's next. Live in the moment. So obviously this film is 4 hours long. It's a director's cut, and you have to remind yourself when you're watching this. Now, normally a film like this wouldn't just be released in theaters. There would be normally a theatrical version that was shorter. But in this case, we've already gotten the theatrical version. It was garbage. Now we get the original full fleshed out vision. That's what this is. It's 4 hours long. And every single part of it, I feel, was necessary. Now, there are moments that could have been cut out. But my thing is, even in those moments that were added that didn't have to be in there, I still appreciated them. I still loved consuming them, watching them, and enjoying every single moment, because the fact that Snyder wanted it in there says something. He was passionate about it, which makes you passionate about it. So if you're able to sit through a film like Lord of the Rings or Avengers Endgame or something like that, The Irishman, you should definitely have no problem watching this film, unless 4 hours is just, that's not a length that you even get close to when you're watching movies. Then try to split it up. Because, yeah, there is some stuff in the middle that doesn't absolutely have to be in there. And I definitely say, like, the first half and the third act of the film are where all of the meat is really packed in. But every single moment adds for the depth, adds for the characterization and build-up of the final payoff. So, in my opinion, it's worth it. But I can see why some people would have an issue with it. But then again, if you're a fan of Zack Snyder, you're used to the length. I also want to praise Junkie XL just a little bit, because he showed up and he balled out. This was an amazing score on his part. Very, very riveting and just exciting and got your heart pumping. I still think my favorite is from Batman vs. Superman that he's done, but this is definitely like right there, tied. I can see it passing in the future. What he's able to do with, whether it's Hans Zimmer or just in the DCEU films we've got from him so far, he's got such a distinct style that you don't ever get that much of a surrounding sound by other composers. He really knows how to make epic music that substitutes and benefits every single moment. And even those moments that initially you wouldn't think are important, you can feel the score revving up. You can hear it and see where it's going, and it carries the narrative along very, very smoothly. Very, very well done on his part. It was great. I love listening to this movie. This was everything I wanted and more. It had the characterization, it had the action, it had the full entire vision of what Zack Snyder always wanted to do. We get to see black suit Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, an Aquaman that's great, a Flash and Cyborg that are very, very compelling, characterization to the villains that give us an understanding of where they're coming from. There's more blood, there's violence, there's brutal action, and like I said, a heart-pounding score. All the way around, this film is just, it's a fan piece. It's something that's really a tribute to the fans, everyone who's been chanting and petitioning for this movement for the last 4 years. But also, it's just it's an example that Zack Snyder is truly a visionary. He's still underrated in my opinion. He doesn't get the credit he deserves with his past 2 DCEU films or any of the other films that he's ever made. And nobody tells a story like he does. I applaud him. I thank him for coming back, doing this, having fun, expressing all of his emotions and passion for these characters on the big screen. I love that all of the actors in the film came back to support him and help him achieve this. It's just, it's such an amazing thing to see. I can't stop gushing about it. I'll probably go and watch the movie again after this review because I just love it that much. But guys, you guys do not want to miss this when it comes out on HBO Max. Please sit down and watch it. Regardless of how you have to do it, if you have to split it up, just do it. Just watch the movie because I'm telling you, it's outstanding. So that is why I'm going to have to give Zack Snyder's Justice League a 9.5 out of 10. Hallelujah. My goodness, I'm so happy. But anyways, guys, it's that time. The review has come and gone. I let you know my thoughts. Now it's time for you to go consume the film yourself. But until then, make sure to comment down below. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions. Make sure to come back once you watch the movie and tell me how you enjoyed it and how it compares to the original Justice League. I'll just say now, most of you guys are probably going to like this more than the 2017 Justice League. I mean, not many people like the Justice League at all. So I wouldn't be surprised if you absolutely love this. But make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't already. And make sure to turn on the bell notification to get notified every time I post a new video. I am pumped. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Peace out.